Hey guys, I was looking at this gap, or actually it's more like a misaligned hood, and it's kind of hard to tell by looking at it. I mean, to me it's obvious because I'm looking at it in real life, but the easiest way to show you how out of alignment this is to put this piece of plastic, and I know this is not very exact, but you can see the how bad this portion, this very tip of the hood, protrudes above the nose of the car, or what I call the headlamp bay. In some corners, I mean, it's still pretty out of line here. Same thing for this side. So what I was thinking is, under the hinges, there are shims, actually one big shim on each side. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open the hood, I'm gonna remove or loosen one hinge and take out that shim, and maybe use washers to see if that helps bring the hood down a little bit. And then another thing I want to do is, I was thinking about these strikers. You have to push so hard to get them to snap in place, and there's a way, I believe, to raise the strikers. So I'm gonna do that next to, and also maybe help align this, even though it's not horrible, maybe help with the alignment here. And I'm not gonna worry about the edges right now because, again, working by myself, there's only so much that I can do, and they're not horrible. Eventually I'm gonna try to address that. And you can tell almost, I can tell here that this is out of line just by a 1/16, an eighth of an inch tops. I don't know if you can tell. But anyway, let me get started with the hinges and see if I can help resolve that, even though this area here is not that bad, and here actually it dips. I mean, these things are always out of whack. But let me see what I can do about this part of it. Okay, so I opened the hood. I wanted to show you real quick. This is the driver's side hood hinge, and it is secured by two bolts, and this is the shim that I'm talking about, and the same thing for the other side. So I'm going to loosen these and take out the shim. I'm going to measure it a little bit to see if I can find washers about half the width of this piece, and I'll just have to kind of play it by ear and see how it looks. So I'm going to start with this side. Okay, so I removed one of the bolts, loosened the other one, and I was able to get this shim out of there. It's quite thick. I didn't measure it, but I'm thinking these washers, let me see if I can do this one-handed. It's probably hard to tell here, but they're about half the thickness of the shim, and I believe they're 7/16 the hole, so that would work for these bolts. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put one under each bolt, tighten it a little bit, and see how the alignment looks at that point. Without anything, it was almost flush, maybe a little bit lower than the lip here. So I'm gonna try the shim, see how that looks, and I'll take it from there. Okay, so I haven't latched the hood yet. I tightened this hinge a little bit with those, what did I do with that thing? With those two washers in place, one in front, one in back, and I can already see an improvement. Now there is a little bit of there is a curvature here. This is not supposed to be 100% flat, but this is right here is I don't know if you can see, it's almost perfect. Over on this side is a little bit lower. I'm thinking maybe having two washers toward the rear may help that a little bit. I'm not gonna bet money on that because there's always, the hinges are kind of toward the front, but this is pretty good. And then of course, it's a little bit high here, but not much anymore. And again, this is a soft curve here. So I'm not expecting it to be 100% flat. It is better, but still I have to modify the hinge for this side. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And yeah, this one here is, you can see almost the edge of the fender kind of protruding up a little bit. So maybe, and I don't have shims, different sizes, so I'm using washers. I'm gonna raise the hood again, and before I do this side, I may add another couple of washers on this side to see if it brings it up just enough, because that may be even better. It's a trial and error type of thing. So let me try that. Okay, so this is what I ended up doing. The shims, by the way, they're identical. And as you can see, they're pretty hefty. I haven't measured them. But anyway, what I did, I put two washers side by side with the shim, and when you have two of them, they're exactly the same height. So because of the way that and again, I don't have any experience doing this. I'm just going by kind of what it feels right. What I ended up doing is I used two washers for the back bolt, and then only one for the front bolt. And that gave me, of course, a little bit of a tilt. So, and this again is a big experiment. Now, as you can see, here's this thing that I was using. And again, keep in mind there's a curvature to the nose of the car as it slants toward the front. Now, over here in certain portions, it is almost perfect. In others, maybe a little bit of a dip, not that much. This point here, it is pretty much perfect. And kind of the same thing here for the back. And again, there's a curvature to this, so you have to keep that in mind. But just by feeling, this is, I have to admit, it dips down just ever so slightly. Here it's almost perfect. But again, you know, blame it on fabrication or age or whatever. This is fiberglass, so it's gonna, I guess to a certain degree, it's gonna move. Another thing I noticed is look at the gap. When I removed those shims, it's almost like I felt the hood move forward, you know, quite a bit. I mean, it is not perfect. And again, from side to side is not perfect either. But look at that. I mean, it's quite the difference. It's almost like a whole 1/8 of an inch moved. Now, what I'm gonna do next, I'm gonna tighten those. I still have to reattach the support, but I'm gonna use this painter's pole that I've been using as a prop, and I'm gonna raise the strikers about a full turn, and because I think they're just putting too much pressure on the hood or the latches and the hood consequently, and that kind of creates a lot of tension. Now, when this is fully latched, I don't know if that's gonna have any effect on the front. It should have a little bit of an effect on the front of the hood, but it'll bring it up just ever so slightly, and that may even make it more perfect. I'm using the word perfect very loosely here. But wow, what an improvement. I mean, I wasn't even shooting for this. This just happened by accident, by a fluke. So I just want to work on the strikers to make it less kind of, you know, there's a lot of compression when you push down and finally it latches. And I think I can alleviate that by raising the strikers, and I'll show you how I do that. I don't have any special tools for it, so I have to use like a drift punch to turn these things. But I've done it before, about 5 or 6 years ago. So I hope my memory still serves me when it comes to that. But that's next. Okay, so I propped the camera here. I don't know if it's gonna work or not. But as you can see, they have some big slots. This thing, it looks like a gigantic washer or something like that. Wow, that was easier than I expected. Okay, so then you can turn this thing. Basically what it does, it's like a lock nut, basically, if you think about it. Then what I need is a big flathead screwdriver. So what you want to do here is, while you hold this one, I believe, yeah, you turn this one counterclockwise to go up. I go full turn here. And again, this is a lot of trial and error in my case. And while you hold that, you want to tighten this bottom plate. And it's great if you have 3 hands, which I do not. So my thinking here is by going up a little bit, it's going to be applying less pressure to the latch. So when I push down, it'll just make the connection a lot easier, because this again, it's got a spring under there. Now, by having less pressure, also when you pull the opener, the hood opener, again, it's just gonna be a lot easier instead of being under a lot of tension. So I don't know if this is making any sense, but again, it's just kind of trial and error in my case. And when that is done, I'll make sure that this is still aligned. It should be, because the what I moved on the hinges shouldn't affect this that much. Although I'm going to loosen it a little bit, make sure that it's centered, tighten it, and then latch the hood, and really hope that it'll open. But anyway, let me do the other side, and then we'll take it from there.